Okay, so I just got done masturbating to your pretty, pretty face. Katie Boo. Hey, girl. How be you? I don't smoke, but I feel like I could use a cigarette and a nap. But, imagine how it's going to be with you, actually. You know. Ooh. It's like I was just joking, but anyway. And then you'll, give me that smile, and I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to go again. Refractory period over. So, um, my refractory period is short, and if I'm really, really horny, it's non-existent. I can just keep going like immediately after I ejaculate. So, um, anyway, but number one, I've decided I'm gonna save that picture of you smiling, and I'm gonna size it up and use it as masturbatory material. Figured you might, want to know that. So flatterings. And like I said, there is a limit, as far as objectification or whatever. But kind of where we're at right now, I can only assume that you're like, tee all your friends, who are in relationships or marriages and maybe even have kids, if it would come up, they may not bother to recognize it or say it, but I'm going to tell you, it's a very high probability that they've never had anybody express that much sexual interest in them ever. So, not even when they were first dating and shit, because they're silly boys and shit. So, like I said, I don't mean it to sound, pathetic. You make me so fucking horny, but you do. Make me sound pathetic, and I don't mean it to objectify you, But, yeah, you make me feel a certain way. Horny. But then, like I said, at night and stuff, I think about you, cuddling up with you. I used to even think about you a little bit kind of during the day when I had a job, It's too bad I'm just a troll. I don't do shit like that, and it's complete and utter fucking bullshit, because, boy, we could be some kind of wonderful. Like I said, couples would look at us with envy. Like I said, not jealousy, not like, pfft, what? It won't last. You think you two got something the rest of us don't? Yeah, we do. We're still in love. We're still sexually attracted to each other. Even after all these years, that we've been married or whatever. When I trolled it, that sort of shit. And we're completely that fucking bullshit. But, but Your Honor, we don't have a joint bank account. What's mine is mine. Oh, shit. Your Honor, I've forgotten how to live. He demanded that I be a stay-at-home, homemaker, wife and mother. I know how to make a sandwich, but a sandwich doesn't pay the bills, Your Honor. So, child support and alimony. And yes, I've gotten used to living in a house, that's bigger than needed on acreage. Unfortunately for you, Mrs. Katie Boo, you're going to get the house. And the property that goes with it. So, anyway. But I've decided, and I'm telling you this, so it won't be like natural, but like it would be on my planet. But after I blow my load on your face, be it me, or you kind of doing the combination of, suck, rub, this, that, and the other. But I want you to look up at me and give me that goddamn, knee weakening smile. And I want you to say, how's your penis feel? And I'm going to say, exactly like your face. And I want you to give me a giggle, even if it's totally fake, and give me another one of them knee weakening smiles. Oh, shit. So now you know. Don't forget that. So, anyway. Shit. Like I said, any of your friends, your little tart, like the Mad Russian, her latest one with that girl. Damn, she's cute. But Little Miss Canita Potato Hole, Sideways. You think her putz fucking husband ever expressed that kind of sexual excitement towards her? I doubt it. So, like I said, I don't know if you're used to this kind of talkings, any of your exes, express that kind of interest in you sexually and emotionally. But, like I said, I don't actually know how that makes you feel, but I suspect it's kind of flattering. So, but there is a limit, at this point I'm just blah, blah, but, when we hook up and this is real, because it's destiny, troll or not, I can't, obviously it'll kind of, it'll maintain, but I'll kind of have to tone it down a bit, you know what I mean? I can't, because it will. Even if right now you're like, tee, oh, I'll put my butt on you, boy. Oh, yeah. It's like eventually it'll kind of wear on you, like I'm more than just a pair of underwear. I'm more than just a pretty face for you to rub your dick on, and they'll be, like, you complete me. You had me at hello, and all that shit. So, actually, you didn't. You were just I stumbled across you and I was like, God, look at this girl. Holy shit. She's having a fucking orgasm, because you remember back like in your videos that are like 2 or 3 years old. You'd just be like, you wouldn't moan or anything, but you had that look. And I don't know if that was legit or you did that or that was natural, but, or you did it on purpose or whatever, but, you were just like, okay, I'll save this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then just little by little, I was like, this girl's really attractive. A couple months later, I'm like, God damn, this girl just keeps getting prettier and prettier. Women are supposed to age like milk, and men are supposed to age like, scotch or bourbon. This chick seems to be getting better, and it's just like, oh. And then, like I said, the whole secret fan thing, I'm assuming maybe, because you're you and you check every single little comment and detail and analytics and all that stuff. So maybe that's how that happened. Because I started noticing things, like, hey, you're doing it. Unless we're just watching the same people, it almost seems like you're going down the list. So, and like I said, that's how it would work. I'm not going to get into the details of that and videos showing views and not showing views. Then, of course, like Mrs. Butthead and Mrs. Poop Emoji, bunny humper in, it smells like dust, like the next week. Wouldn't want to be left in the dirt, wouldn't we, super dude? The dirt. Nah, we wouldn't want to do that. That'd be bad. And I used to always, I'd kind of be like, I'm so sad and alone. And then, next day that I was up at, the office there with Mrs. Butthead, she'd be over there, and just. So I guess that's all I gotta say. And there was some really specific stuff. I'm not gonna say it, but I remember that. I was like, did I just fucking hear that? Pretty sure I just heard that. You know. So, yeah. Kleber, she's married, bitch. You want 10,000? You want $20,000 or don't you? And like I said, the butt dog thing, we're talking, 50, 60, and you can take control. Get up in my face, like, so you want my butt cheeks dancing and rubbing and gliding and sliding and clapping and bouncing on your dick, do you? Yes, I do. Well, it's going to cost you a little bit more than $20,000. It's going to cost you $21,000. Whatever. It's like, oh. Get with your bitch, your friend. Remind her that she's married to the best thing she's ever had. No, not me. But literally the best thing she has ever had. Be him, on the spectrum, Down syndrome, reject, retard. He's still technically a Greek god who descended from the mountaintops to mingle with the people, and he chose her. And he dolls her up with the plastic chains and whatnot, and she may or may not even like that. It's like, that's not really my thing. Maybe she's just more natural. But you can't hurt the dumb motherfucker's feelings. So yeah, and then it's kind of weird. And like the ring that I saw was like one of them like brown ones. A lot of people wear those. They're like black or brown or whatever, instead of the gold band. So that makes sense. And they up there. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but up there, god damn, I don't know where that was. Yes, I'm talking about her again. It's just a thing. It's what I do. Because all of a sudden they took some pretty serious vacations. Like you got to get on a plane and go over the ocean and land somewhere that's like different. White sandy beaches, clear water. Maybe it was Hawaii. Maybe it was some islands, whatever, that's like American friendly. But yeah, there was that one place. For some reason, I figured that was it was like a group of them. For some reason, I think that was somewhere else. That wasn't here in America, the mainland. That was like New Zealand or some shit. I don't know why. It just seems like that was a vacation and blah, blah, blah. I could be wrong. Fucking. I don't know if it's still on her. I'm not going to say again because I haven't gotten around to that yet, making a fake shit, whatever. Because generally it's whenever she would update her circle feed as did think about that. So, and once I see that belly, she's off the list because it's weird at that point. But I do want to see. I want to see, because she wanted kids so bad. But like I said, they're doing the honeymoon phase thing. They're getting that shit out of their system because once the kid's on the scene, that'll be a next page. That'll be the next chapter of which she will just fucking love, and so will the Gweed. She will more so because she's got the maternal instinct. She carried the baby for 9 months, so her connection is like, as we're, the Gweed, which technically will be Papa Bear. That'll be his role. He'll hold the little baby and take naps with it and shit, but or him or her, the baby, but it won't be. It's just the way it works, And he'll be flooded with emotions and stuff, and blah blah blah, fatherly, whatever instincts, but it just won't be the same, It's different for chicks. Like that one chick, oh my God, I've been looking at my heart attack. Somebody wipe my eyes. I want to take my top off so I can have skin-on-skin contact, A dude isn't going to do that the first time he holds a baby, Nah, I don't want kids. Fuck that shit. I ain't getting married and all that shit. Holds a baby and he's like, oh, shit. Oh, damn. But he's not, crying and, oh, I won't take my top off. That's a maternal mommy bear thing. But, anyway, But yeah, they were up there in the fucking waterfalls and shit and the fucking treehouse. And she's all done up, like wearing her bikini, and just like the see-through stuff, just walking around, It's just like that's just her clothes for the day. And it's like that's normal, it's vacation season. There's lots of chicks are walking around just wearing their bikinis. Basically, they're wearing their underwear. It's just thicker material. Maybe not as sexy, you know what I mean? Maybe it's not, whatever, but more coverage, as opposed to if it was panties. Anyway, that's why I kind of like the cuts from the like late '80s and early '90s. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They were just higher cut. And they get wedgified up in there like that girl in the green. Then you got that girl like in the bluish. Where she's got a little bit different type of ass. Cheeks don't go up as high, butt crack don't go high as up. Still that jiggle and wiggle, just ain't got no. But anyway, so yeah, remind your stupid dumb friend, that she's made it. She's living the dream. She's got what everybody wants, but not everybody gets. Even though technically the greed is, settle. Because just like that White Zombie song, I'm the one that you wanted. I'm the super beast. And I mean that humbly. I'm joking, But like I said, at this point, maybe I'm the second place. She met him and she was just like, oh. But I'm her backup plan because I'm just this chump, this simp, right? And it's like, bitch, I'll bitch you. Slap you in your motherfucking head just for even assuming that we're on the same level. Like I said, because people tend to stay within their lane. So it's like, excuse me, bitch. And like I said, some pictures she actually looks downright cute. Some pictures it's like, this is an odd-looking human being. The candy corn teeth, and your brain is confused. It can't make up its mind. Is she ugly or is she kind of cute in an odd way, kind of like a pug? The dogs, pugs. She's cute like a dog. One of them ugly dogs. But anyway, and then her body shape-shifting thing. But anyway, so yeah, Katie Boo, 18 minutes in. Oh, I'm going to add that. I added the what have you, and stuff. And just, like I said, all of a sudden, it just sort of evolved. And I would just sort of have some pictures of you, and then I decided to make the collages, and I've just sort of grabbed the next gear, I've probably made like 20 different scenes with you, and it's just like, yeah, you're on the list, you're on the rotation, because I rotate through, my different scenes and collages and setups and whatnot. You're part of it now. You are bona fide masturbatory material. And eventually, when you're wife, it's going to be kind of like weird, Well, it'll be kind of this cute thing, I used to masturbate to you. Now I'm humping your panty butt. Sometimes things just work out, Is that usually how it works? Fellas, Well, you know what I mean. I guess, especially, okay, fine, I was masturbating about fucking you. Now I'm fucking you. It's nice when it works like that, isn't it, fellas? Yeah. Anyway, instead of, the nerd, like the dude, who's in the friend zone, and all that. It's just like he doesn't really stand a chance unless, of course, his name is his butthead. Sure. Why not? Let's do something this weekend and let's just make it official. That way she doesn't have to, because she needs that itch scratched. Like when she was dating a dating puss boy, it's like she didn't, I doubt she saw him as a suitor, she just knew, I would imagine. Same thing with the gremlin. Oh, fuck, I don't, oh. fuck, and just, well, that's disgusting. But, you know, she let him fuck her, and I'm sure she put his dick in her mouth and all that shit. And they went out, and she laughed and smiled and giggled and did the, we're dating, she played the role of the girlfriend, It's like, wow, have some fucking self-respect. There's no bottom for her. There's no barrier to entry, It's just enter, then back and forth and back and forth, in and out, There's no having to like prove yourself, or your worth or anything. It's just like, hey, you got a pulse and a penis. Just do this, And then she met the Gwee, It's like shit, So anyway, 20 minutes.